Gravity Falls is an amazing cartoon that dissects complex themes with ease and brevity. The show follows Dipper, Mabel, and Stan. This wacky trio goes on all kinds of adventures that are exciting, yet educational. Even though this series is made for kids, the theming is adult-oriented. There are so many powerful messages about finding meaning in little moments, carving out our own path in the world, and making sense of our identity. Season 1, Episode 6 will be the focus of this video. We begin the show in a diner. Stan and Mabel start making fun of Dipper's lack of manliness. We see a flashback of him singing femininely in the mirror. Feeling insecure, Dipper tries to prove his worth. He goes up to the manliness machine in an attempt to win free breakfast for his family. Failing miserably, he searches for his masculinity in the forest. Running into a pack of buff minotaurs, he trains under their tutelage. But he realizes that many of these interactions are performative. Dipper doesn't enjoy partaking in hyper-masculine behaviors. He'd rather sing Baba with his newfound buddy, the multi-bear. Instead of following suit, Dipper breaks the mold in a truly inspiring fashion. Rather than succumb to social pressures, he casts aside this preconceived notion of what it means to be a man. Demonstrating such a poignant idea to children is so important. What Gravity Falls is doing with this episode is deconstructing toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity is the idea men have harmful gendered expectations baked into their identity. Men have to be strong. Real men don't cry. Be independent. Be competitive. These ideas might sound nice on paper, but they can lead to immeasurable harm. Think about Dipper's journey. He's wasting countless hours proving himself to others. This adventure wasn't motivated by a personal desire to become strong, but solely based on insecurity. Countless men become consumed by the idea of manhood, myself included. So today, I wanted to analyze Dipper's toxic journey and deconstruct what it means to be a real man. If you enjoyed this video, like and share with your friends. Also, don't forget to hit that sub button and notification bell so you always see my latest content. To begin, let's start with toxic masculinity. In psychology, toxic masculinity is a set of harmful behaviors that result from heavy social pressures. These assumptions come with a slew of harmful consequences. Some examples are, men think they have to be hypersexually aggressive to get a girlfriend. They might act violently to display their manhood, or act homophobically. Social ostracization comes for those who live outside the norm. These are only a few examples, but the list of negatives is expansive. Telling a young boy not to cry doesn't negate the feelings of this child. Rather, it leads to a culture of repression where men feel uncomfortable talking about their feelings. This concept has plagued my life in a similar way to Dipper. I used to feel so self-conscious I didn't match people's assumptions. I started to hate the more feminine qualities I possessed. But characters like our hero remind me it's okay to be a guy who likes Baba. Now that we've laid the groundwork, let's break down Dipper's exploration of identity. His journey spawns from a deep sense of insecurity. Disregard his age for a moment. If we view the masculinity machine as an allegory for wealth, then his plight is so relatable. Men are expected to be the breadwinners in society, so missing the mark feels emasculating. Am I a man if I can't provide for my family? Especially when the person behind him breaks the machine and feeds everyone. At this moment, Gravity Falls hits us with some poignant commentary. Ernest Hemingway has a quote that fits perfectly for this interaction. There's nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self. When Dipper compares himself to the stereotypical portrayal of a man, he feels small. I tried as hard as I could, but it took this dude only one finger to destroy the machine. Comparison without context can lead to so much harm. Dipper isn't as strong as manly Dan, but he has endearing qualities that make him special in his own right. Deep in the woods, we try to find out who we are. Dipper runs into one of the minotaurs and screams like a girl for a second, then quickly changes his tone. This is where the gendered performance begins. There are so many layers of nuance in every one of these interactions. Companies are also aware of gendered expectations and cater products to fit insecurities. Real Man Jerky is a striking commentary on how exploitative marketing can be in regards to gender. Eating Real Man Jerky isn't going to render different results than Jack Link's or any other brand, but the appeal comes in the form of wish fulfillment. Men who are physically similar to Dipper might buy this product because of its predatory nature. Or how about the main Minotaur himself? When we are first introduced to his character, all he does is smash things. He seems pent up with rage, so he unloads on everything around him. But Gravity Falls even has the charity to make the antagonist redeemable. This Minotaur smells the sadness on Dipper and tries to help him, an action that is inherently opposed to toxic masculinity. Once we gain our first ally, we make our way to the man cave. Before going inside, we see the pain hole. The premise is simple. Prove your strength through enduring pain. In hindsight, acts like this are dangerous and should serve as a reminder why pain doesn't equate to masculinity. Then we are introduced to the crew. Puberty, testosterone, and the pituitary gland are all important features in masculine development. Already, Gravity Falls is making waves in children's TV, but the show doesn't stop here. So you might be wondering, if the Minotaurs are so uncommunicative, how do they resolve issues? Well, the answer is simple. Through battle. Rather than hash out disagreements, they let their fists do the talking. We discussed earlier how toxic masculinity can lead to violence, and this is the result. Another problem with prioritizing masculinity is emasculation. If you define yourself on your manliness, an invalidation feels very personal. Are you saying I'm not a man? Dipper uses his lived experiences as insight. Rather than try and brute through the issue, he challenges their manhood. Learning from his past, this trick works like a charm. Dipper enters a training montage with a testosterone-infused soundtrack, which is an homage to the old Rocky films. Only real men are strong enough to drink from a fire hydrant. After enduring these challenges, Dipper becomes Destructor. One enemy stands in his way to becoming a real man, the multi-bear. This supposed beast is the perfect way to demonstrate why we shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Our enemy looks intimidating, but deep down, he's misunderstood. The Minotaurs ostracize the multi-bear in a similar way to our hero's family. As they empathize with one another, Dipper realizes he doesn't need to define himself based on the wants of others. When he returns to the man cave, he decides to lead with his heart. Feeling dejected, he reaches out to Stan for insight. Rather than give a hammed up response, he's honest with his nephew. Being a man isn't about pulling your bros in a wagon or skipping crocodiles. To truly embody manhood, one must stick up for themselves even in the face of heavy social criticism. Dipper wanted nothing more than to grow chest hair throughout this episode. But the first time a single hair sprouts is when he stands up for himself. Narratively, this is the perfect cartoon episode. Dipper completely changes as a person in only 22 minutes. These ideas are so important to demonstrate in media. Many young boys are socialized in harmful ways, and Gravity Falls can help them express emotions healthily. Toxic masculinity was present in so many of our cartoons growing up. Johnny Bravo depicted a man obsessed with chasing women. Ed, Edd n Eddy shows guys constantly hounding girls for attention. Not to mention the harm Dexter and Mandark create through fierce competition. Dipper is a counterbalance to these negative depictions. His plight is toxic, but his actions are communal. He reaches out to the Minotaurs. He recognizes that his actions cause pain and sadness to others. Rather than leave his family, he opens up to them about his feelings. Ultimately, Dipper is happier when he defines masculinity by his standards. Expectations, like most things, have a dual edge. A positive assumption can make our lives more convenient, but negative expectations hurt us all. After witnessing Dipper's journey, I think I finally understand what it means to be a man. Being a man isn't about being strong or independent. True manhood comes in the form of standing up for our beliefs, showing empathy to the ones who others deem an enemy, and reaching out to our loved ones in times of need. One final thing Gravity Falls can teach us is the consequences of social shaming. Dipper feels horrible about himself from all the bullying. Toxic masculinity has to be dealt with on both ends to create healthier interactions. If we make men feel bad about their bodies or emotions, then the natural response is to shut down. Mabel and Stan are partially responsible for Dipper's insecurity. When they show our hero true love, his self-consciousness fades away. Thanks for checking out this video. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit the like and sub button. It really helps the channel. Gravity Falls is an excellent cartoon I can't recommend enough. Every character struggles with unique problems relevant to all of us. Mabel deals with addiction to banned sugar packs. Stan realizes his family is getting tired of him. These sometimes existential issues are a rarity in cartoons, not to mention how meaningful Dipper is to future generations. Feeling sad about ourselves isn't healthy, but fixing this problem requires so much work. Luckily, Dipper shows us why it's worth it. Did you enjoy this breakdown? What Gravity Falls episode resonated with you? I'd love to hear from you.